Nightmare Moon's Revenge, written by Blue Moon Hero, read by Swedish Diablo. After a while, Luna has not been able to sleep. She had nightmares that had haunted her for months, but this evening the nightmares had changed. No! Scared Luna. Luna wakes up panicking, up and sitting in her bed. She is absolutely terrified. No, that cannot be true, said Luna. Do not be the truth that Nightmare Moon is back, said Luna. The rest of the night, Luna couldn't sleep. A few days later, Celestia can notice that her sister is not feeling well, and she's getting worried about Luna. Luna, you seem to need to sleep a bit, said Celestia. Luna is sitting in half past at a table. But when she heard Celestia say she needs to sleep, then her reaction something like Celestia has not prepared. No, said Luna. No, I'm fine, said Luna. Are you sure? Asked Celestia. Yes, I'm sure. But Celestia could imagine something was going on, but did not allow more time for it. She hopes Luna will feel better the next day. But that evening, Luna fell asleep while trying to stay awake, but the same nightmare came up again. No, that can't be true, says Luna. Yes, it is true. I'm back. I'm looking for revenge, said Nightmare Moon. No, I don't allow you to take over me again, said Luna. I already selected my new host, said Nightmare Moon. I will stop you, said Luna. You can try, said Nightmare Moon. You will not succeed, said Nightmare Moon. Ah, said Luna. Luna wakes up in horror as she shakes her entire body. No, that cannot be true. Nightmare Moon is back, said Luna. I have to stop Nightmare Moon at all cost, said Luna. Luna is still awake all night. The next morning, Luna is even more tired, and now Celestia had enough of Celestia that Luna did not sleep. Luna, said Celestia. What is it? Asked Luna. You fell asleep at the table again, replied Celestia. Now you have to tell me what's wrong, because I can see something is wrong, said Celestia. There's something terrible that will happen, said Luna. Tell me, Luna, said Celestia. It is that, said Luna. Luna is silent for a moment, and she looks at Celestia with an uneasy look. Celestia looked at Luna, who were even more worried about her. It's Nightmare Moon. She's back, said Luna. Is it possible? She was defeated by Twilight and her friends, said Celestia. No, part of Luna Nightmare Moon survived and fled, said Luna. She sought shelter and was looking for a new host, said Luna. She's out there for revenge, said Luna. We must immediately inform Twilight and her friends to come over here, said Celestia. A couple of hours later, Twilight and her friends arrived at the cantonment. They all thought the same why. Celestia had asked them to come to Canterlot as soon as possible. What do you think this is all about? Asked Fluttershy. No clue. Everything Celestia wrote that she asked us to come as soon as possible. That was something important, replied Twilight. It's certainly a diplomatic thing, said Rainbow Dash. I don't think that, Rainbow, said Applejack. What do you think they saw when? Asked Rainbow Dash. I don't know, but probably if any of threat, replied Applejack. Whatever it is, we will handle it, said Rarity. But in the throne room, they all get the reason why they became called the Candlewood, and they were completely shocked by the news. "No, it can't be possible," said Twilight. "It's just your a princess joke," said Rainbow Dash. "No, Rainbow Dash, I can assure you that is truth," said Luna. "I had the same horrible nightmare for months," said Luna, "but the last days the dreams had changed." Twilight and her friends were watching Luna and Celestia, and they looked serious. "Somewhere out there, Nightmare Moon is in search, or she has found a new host," said Luna. "But I thought the elements of harmony was the strongest magic that could defeat Nightmare Moon," said Rarity. "We also believed that until my sister told me everything," said Celestia. Twilight and her friends looked at Celestia and Luna. That is really meant seriousness. They can also see that Luna was exhausted after not sleeping for several days. "What can we do in meantime?" asked Applejack. "We can only wait," said Luna. "Should we just sit and wait till Nightmare Moon is revenged?" asked Rainbow Dash. "That's right," said Luna. "But we don't know who that will be revenged on," said Rainbow Dash. "It might be any of us who defeated her the second time, or Celestia when she was banished her," said Rainbow Dash. "Rainbow has a point. It could be any of us," said Applejack. "That's true," said Rarity. "I have at least sent out Colonel Stormwind and his patrol to report all suspiciously," said Celestia. "So my advice is to be on guard," said Luna. On the home on the train to Ponyville, Twilight and her friends are excited but worried that Nightmare Moon is out there somewhere and plans for revenge. Twilight and her friends were also found who could become Nightmare Moon's new host. The train arrived at Ponyville, and Twilight asking her friends to pay attention to something suspicious but not intervening alone. "What are you going to do in the meantime?" asked Fluttershy. "I will look in my library if there are any way to defeat Nightmare Moon once and for all," said Twilight. "Good luck," said Applejack. Twilight stepped right into the castle, and it was quiet. "Spike!" shouted Twilight. You're home already?" asked Spike. "Yes, I am," said Twilight. "What was Celestia wanted to be, weren't you?" asked Spike. "It's a long story," said Twilight. "We go to the living room and I will tell you everything," said Twilight. They went to the living room and sat on the couch, and Twilight began to tell everything to Spike what Luna and Celestia told them in Camelot. "You have to be kidding," asked Spike. "No, I'm not joking, Spike," said Twilight. "How is it possible that Nightmare Moon survived?" asked Spike. "According to Luna, some of Nightmare Moons managed to flee just before she was defeated," said Twilight. "So she's just out there somewhere forever?" said Spike. "That's right," said Twilight. Spike was totally shocked by the news that one of Equestria's worst enemies was still loose, and planned for a revenge, but at the same time didn't know who might be revenged, or who is the Nightmare Moon's new host. The thought made Spike terrified, but he hoped that Twilight would find a way to defeat Nightmare Moon for good. Twilight spent all the night in the library finding a way to defeat Nightmare Moon, but no good folk. She searched from a book, but nothing mentioned anything that could help. Twilight wondered if there was any way to defeat her, but when the morning came, she went to bed. She meets Spike, who was on his way up, and he sees her exhausted. "Have you been up all night?" asked Spike. "Yes, I have," said Twilight. "Did you find anything in the books?" asked Spike. "No, nothing," said Twilight. "Do not give up. We will find a way," said Spike. "Thanks, Spike, for your support," said Twilight. A little later, after Twilight had woken up, she had a visit by Rarity in Fluttershy. "Have you found anything about stopping Nightmare Moon?" asked Rarity. "No, I haven't," said Twilight. "How can we stop her?" asked Fluttershy. "No clue," said Twilight. "Do not give up hope, darling. You will find a way," said Rarity. "Meanwhile, we can only keep an eye on us and hope we find her before her revenge," said Rarity. "I agree," said Twilight. "Where is Spike?" asked Twilight. "He went to the market to get some fruit," said Rarity. Fluttershy. Just then Spike walked in with a bag in his hands. He saw Twilight awake, and he smiled at her before going to the kitchen. "How did Spike take everything?" asked Rarity. "He became very shocked," said Twilight. "I can understand that," said Rarity. "Now we have to go. We have other things to do," said Rarity. "Bye for now," said Twilight. Twilight went to the kitchen to have something to eat. She took two apples and looked further in the books in her anyway. As she sat in the library and read through 2 books, but nothing in them, there was something else about defeating Nightmare Moon. She thought they could be a spell that could stop Nightmare Moon, but no one of those luck. She read and read, but in none of the books she found something that could help them. But just then Spike got in with a scroll in his hand. "Twilight, you received a message from Shining Armor," said Spike. "What does my brothers want?" asked Twilight. "You can read it," said Spike. Twilight took the scroll and immediately began to read the message from her brother Shining Armor. "Dear Twilight, I have been told by Celestia that Nightmare Moon has returned, and I'm worried about Cadance. She hasn't been herself lately. She has begun to spending less time with Fairy Heart, not to play with her own daughter. She stopped reading stories for her in the evenings and spent more time on the ruling of Crystal Empire. She has begun to get the ponies to practice for more of defense, and I have begun to worry about her. Something is going on. I asked Celestia for advice, but she just said that Cadance is somewhat focused on protecting the Empire from Nightmare Moon. But I think there is something else that's going on. I asked you to receive Flurry Heart for some time, just in case, for safety of course. As I said, it's just a feeling I have, but I don't want to take the risk if something is wrong with Cadance, so I want you to protect my daughter. I know it sounds crazy, but I just want to make sure it's safe for insurance and I know that Flurry is safe with you and your friends. Flash will also look after her while she's with you, so take care of her in the meantime. She is coming to Ponyville this evening. Greetings, Shining Armor. Twilight was shocked, but at the same time understands that her brother is worried about Flurry and Cadance. "Spike, make a room for Flash and Flurry Heart," said Twilight. "I will," said Spike. "I promise to protect my niece," said Twilight. Later in the evening, Flash sentry appeared with Flurry Heart. "Thank you for coming," said Flash. There's no problem, said Twilight. Here you are safe, said Twilight. I can show you to your room, said Spike. Thank you very much, said Flash. Later that evening, Twilight is sitting in the library and reading some books when she sees Flash coming into the library. How is your search? Asked Flash. Not good, said Twilight. You will find a way to stop her, said Flash. I hope so, said Twilight. How is Flurry? Asked Twilight. She is asleep, but she is well, said Flash. Twilight is looking at Flash, that looks a bit worried. Flash, can I ask you something? Of course, said Flash. Did you notice something different with Cadence? Asked Twilight. Yes, she has started spending more time alone, said Flash. I once heard her talking to herself. What was she saying? She said, that's soon. Exactly what she meant. I don't know, said Flash. I might apply it for something, said Twilight. That's true, said Flash. I will probably go to bed, said Flash. Good night, Flash, said Twilight. Good night, Princess Twilight, said Flash. Twilight is still up and reads for a while before herself goes to bed. She's wondering if they will succeed in finding Nightmare Moon and defeating her once and for all. The following days, Twilight tried to find a way while spending time with her niece. But having reading through her books, she was close to giving up hope. One afternoon, her friends was visiting. Pinkie and Fluttershy played with Flurry Heart while the others talked in the same room. Twilight, how does the search find a way to defeat Nightmare Moon? Asked Verity. I have given up the search, said Twilight. Her friends was totally shocked to hear it. Even Flash was in the room. But Twilight, you can't give the hope now, said Applejack. You may ask Celestia to check out the Canterlot Library archives, said Verity. I already asked her if a bit, said Twilight. What did you find? Asked Rainbow Dash. Absolutely nothing, said Twilight. I think Nightmare Moon has won, said Twilight. Twilight, please don't give up. Then said Applejack. I don't know where to look, said Twilight. But just then, Spike got into the room and he seemed to be afraid about something.